Welcome to York Manor. Good morning. So, yesterday's progress, well, if you can see behind me, we started taking out the stairs. And that's proven pretty interesting and like shown us a whole bunch about kind of what's going on with the house, kind of all the things that have been done to it, and some more remodels we're finding. So let's go take a look at it, right? So this is it. We got this sweet door over here, and then these ridiculously, absurdly steep steps. They're really, really, really steep. I cannot stress that enough. And as we got up here, we started to tear it out. This was all drywall before, if you remember from some of my previous videos. We found all sorts of wiring. We started to pull it out. So this is that knob and tube, and there was a bunch of it in here. There was a couple of pieces that, when they had done it, it actually started to shear through. So that's pretty dangerous. Glad we actually got in here and took a close look. So nearest we can figure, whenever they added this staircase, they added this section right here. And part of the reason, again, that we know that is we look at these 2x4s, and these are those nominal 2x4s we were talking about before. The 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. So they extended this roof up, added it, and then put this absurd staircase in. But it looks like we found another doorway. So there was a doorway here that came from this bedroom and most likely came out, and you see this? That was the roof line. So the roof line came down, and this probably was like a closet or something to that effect. We'll be doing a little bit of work with it because there's the shingles. Probably the original, very, very, very old shingles. There's some tongue and groove shingles I can see up there, old cedar ones. So that's pretty interesting to come up here and find that. But what that means is that if we look out from this doorway, right, we can see this right here. And then since this extends all the way up there, that basically means that I can take this bathroom that's right here and extend it all the way that way, right? And just maybe add a doorway here at the end of the hall somewhere, and then actually have a real bathroom. Maybe this just becomes a laundry room over here, and this becomes a whole bathroom in and of itself. Because one thing we definitely want is a laundry room on the floor with all the bedrooms. It's pretty important to us. So yesterday we also got a whole bunch of the debris taken out of the house, and I spent a pretty good amount of time removing some trim and taking off pieces in the parlor or living room. This part right here, you come in. So we got that. I got that plaster down. You got all of it down from up there, and got that trim off. And I started removing it over here, which is cool because I can see where the original trim was, which is what I pulled because that's plaster. So that plaster is pretty fantastic, and that tells me that it was never painted behind it. Whereas some of this other stuff, as I pull it, like this crown molding that was up here at one point, you can see that paint that's behind it, tells us it's not original, or it wasn't there. At least that crown molding wasn't there at some point. Maybe in crown molding to begin with, but it wasn't that. So, anyways, we're figuring things out with this house. Other things, as we look at these windows, that kind of a conversation was had. Since we have these old windows here, and let me see if I get the phone to, there we go. And we have these two sides where all those weights are. If we put in modern windows, we could actually extend these potentially another 4 inches and get 4 more inches of width out of these windows. So that's a consideration if we don't end up repairing them, if we do go with the newer, more modern, quote unquote, energy efficient models. So I'm kind of leaning towards that because I like that idea. It means I do have to kind of redo some of the top moldings and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I end up with more windows, a wider casing. It would have to be done, and I have to change up some trim stuff. But we'll see, right? Nothing is set in stone until we really start to get this thing down to its bones and get a closer look at it as we figure out this electrical. Right now, we're kind of wondering about this pipe right here, right? So we got this gas pipe, and it runs up, and then you can't see it in here, but it runs up and then runs that way. So we don't know where that goes. It's nowhere upstairs that we can find. I'm sure once I pull the ceiling down, we'll be able to figure that out. I'm kind of taking it easy today, taking a little break, been working it hard. So probably not gonna do a whole lot today other than some cleanup, which is just getting rid of some of the trash from yesterday. But we're starting to figure things out, starting to work a little bit more of a plan, build things through that we want and how it's gonna all turn out, which is actually proven really fun. And I mean, while that's the fun part, that just means more work in the end as we figure it out. But hopefully more work actually now means less work then. I don't know if that's gonna happen. When we've been doing all this electricity, we had to come up here into the attic, and if you look over on this side, we see that's the old electrical box. So yeah, any electricians watching, I'm sure this makes you super excited and happy. For me, I am kind of happy because I really like the old switches like that, these old knife switches. So I'm glad that we've got that. But this isn't right. Not the code, not even a little bit. Not remotely really acceptable. It functions, and yes, functionality is important, but the potential for safety, especially when it was stuffed with all of that and that wire getting hot, is pretty sketchy. So we found that up here. Well, we kind of knew it was here. We just didn't know what it was, but nearest we can figure that was the original main box that came into the house, probably off of this main street over here. So that's pretty interesting to think that the power was on that side. Now the power is coming out the back. But they've done some oddity stuff in here, and we're kind of figuring out exactly what it all is. And as we continue to just find more remodels, it'd be nice if I could figure out the years and the frames and like about when they came around. These are some of the original plaster walls right here. So the only other thing that's been like really big change or really some questions is there's a chimney in this part of the house, and this, yes, it is a beautiful fireplace, but it's not really functional. They kind of blocked it off and did some stuff when they put in the heating downstairs. So if we go to a radiant floor heating, we don't really need that chimney anymore, and we don't need that fireplace. But removing it is a lot of work and could get really complicated. But it's space that we could use for other things. An area that could be there. And just one less thing that the house doesn't need that we don't have to provide maintenance on. So gonna have to figure out whether or not to keep it. And just because we get rid of it, or just because the concrete and the brick goes away, doesn't mean that like a gas fireplace can't go there, because they only use a small pipe to exit out. So that's still a possibility. But again, nothing is set in stone. So some things to think about while we're going through. Learning a whole lot, and I'm glad y'all are watching. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned, because it only goes down from here. Or, well, hopefully it goes up. Thank you. Bye.